Okay, this market just started, and it looks like it started outside the mids, and we have New York value here. We have our two mids here stacked on each other, and we also have our POCs here. So the question is, will it create a vacuum to travel here? That's the question. It is starting with displacement now, so we'll see. Um, we might do a move to here, but we'll see. We have our prior auction zero here, our pre-migration. Once it migrates, that will give us an idea of where we want to go. But right now, it looks like it's a repair based on the conditions. Okay, that third candle's kind of slowing down, so it may not go straight into a vacuum. The mids are outside, and they're definitely leaking short, but we'll see. Just gotta wait now. Definitely slow down. Yeah, it's coming back to the zero. I put the zero where New York opened. Just because it didn't open up. I don't know. I don't think we opened up as a rotation, but I gotta ask chat based on this because we opened outside the mids and outside of value. That's a repair by definition. But the one thing I will say is that we opened semi close to the mids, and as you can see right now, it looks like we're getting a post migration. We'll see if it holds. If it holds, our zero goes now where the migration's happening to. looks like it wants to hold. And then give us an entry for a short. And it did hell. I would wait until it comes back to the 12 here for an entry. So now we're gonna wait for price to come back here, do a rejection here. Technically that would be our entry. Put a stop loss somewhere in here. And perhaps target a 62 or maybe a 75. Maybe even a 1. We'll see. Oh shit, it exit the short here based on the what if it does? It's really committing past the 12. But we want to wait till it comes here because it did not stretch out at all the price. So we're not gonna repair.
You're a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility and your machinery isn't working right. You need to understand what's wrong as soon as possible. So when a conveyor motor falters, Grainger offers diagnostic tools like calibration kits and multimeters.
Getting a commercial there with the music. Oh shit, it's still going down. Oh, we gotta wait. Gotta wait because it may come to the 25 and then come back here. And that drawdown will be significant if we go in early, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't go all the way to the 12, but usually that happens when prices moved quite a bit, has stretched. Here did not stretch. The only thing though that was is that we had a very large Asia session. So from here to here, it's 123 points. You know. Okay, if it goes past the 25, then we may have to commit. But no, see, I think it's gonna. Could it be a rotational? That's the question. If it is a rotational, then we just target this extreme to this extreme. That's it. Alright. That's the thing about Mondays. I think we may have to. rotational. Okay, I'm gonna go in, give it a shot. Now, I'm gonna put a take profit here. Just because I feel like it may be rotational. So when it's a rotational, we will use delta of to target one extreme to one extreme, which is the delta value area high and delta value area low. Now, technically, normally my stop loss would be somewhere around here. But since I'm not sure if it's a rotational, because if it's not a rotational, it may come back right now here. I'm gonna put my stop loss somewhere over here. It's not the kind of stop loss you want to have, but I mean, I don't think it's gonna come back at this point. Touch this and then come back down here. I guess it might be one of those Mondays, you know. Well, we'll see. And that's the thing here. It's about to touch the mid. But this is the thing. Once it passes the POCs, this POC, and where's the other POC? Let me see. No, I take it back. The other POC's down here. No. I was gonna say whenever it passes both POCs, this red line and this red line, that's it. That's your, like, you're gonna go short, right? And go short. But we have this one here because of again, Asia was so large. I'm not liking this trade one bit. Gosh, man. So it looks like we're stalling a little bit. I think once it passes the mids here, it's gonna go straight through here. Obviously, it might, like I said, it depends. Look at that. That's what I was kind of afraid of. I'm like, what if it just comes here and then, oh, okay, it's turning around. This is there is some consolidation here. It might have been just a pullback. Alright, let's see if it pushes through now through this level here. That's the London mid. This is the Asia mid. It looks like we're getting the displacement here. Yeah, a little bit of a push here. Resistance, support. I tell you, it's my first time doing this recording, this video journaling. It feels a bit strange, but I guess I'll get used to it over time. Alright, I'm pausing that. Probably an ad right now. But anyways, right now it looks like it wants to push. We'll see. Alright, yeah, we're getting a little bit of a push now. Come on, come on. Let's go, let's go. Now, I don't know if it's gonna be a rotational day. Okay, by definition, we were not in rotation day because we're when price opened, it opened outside the mids. However, it was very close to the mids here. So sometimes that turns it into a mid. If it's a mid, once price hits here, the extreme of delta, at some point it's going to turn around and it's going to do this all day unless it decides to morph into something else. But if it's not a rotational and say that it becomes a because the only thing that I'm seeing here, this level here, price was revisiting quite a bit. You can see that right there. I don't know. We'll see if it decides to come all the way down here. Right here. Normally, I would target the 62 if I feel like it's not 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 gonna go all the way through. I would target just the 50. But lately I've seen it go all the way down to the -1. But we'll see. I mean, look, right now it is. It might end up being a slow grind or slow continuation. We'll find out. I think it's safe to bring this down here. Come on, baby, let's pull through. Let's fight this. Let's push this here. Come on. We're getting there. We were just a hair. You can see right there. Come on. Like I said, if I wasn't, if I was kind of sure that it wasn't a rotational day, I would target the 62, the 75. That's where I would target. But because I'm not sure if it might be a rotational day, it might be disguised into not a rotational day, but it might be. That's why I have my initial take profit here. There we go. It hit it. So now the question becomes this. We'll see if price decides to turn around. We'll find out. So we went in we went in kind of late here. You know, Initially, I expected price to come in when it gave me the see, there you go. It may be a alright, so I was saying I expected price to come in retrace to the 12 here, and then I would have gone in and I would have cut this entire move here, right? But that didn't happen, so I ended up coming in here right before there was some accumulation, and then it continued. Now, if it is a rotational day, I mean, this would be the extreme that we would be targeting. Okay, if price decides to break and more from a rotational to a, I don't know, a distribution, a compression, then it would have to break somewhere probably here, and then you would target now like a 1, but we'll see. I mean, the thing is this, it's a repair day by definition, and when it's a repair day, this is New York Valley area low over here. This is where it needs to repair over here, you know. So if it decides to break over here, then we would target this here. We got POC right here for New York value. So this would be a good point to hit right around the 1. But as of right now, I mean, it Remitar gave me an entry short. We had auction 0, or our pre-migration was here. It post-migrated to here. So this is where, according to the auction, this is where it's finding the fair value now. Sometimes when you get this signal, this entry short signal or long, whatever it might be, you might get it a little early, and so you have to wait till it again price comes back and does a reclaim, and then once you see that it accepts back into the direction, that's when you normally go in. But it looks like right now it might be rotational, like I said. As you can see here, price touched here, look, and now it looks like it wants to rotate, and the target would be here, this area. And that might be the rotation throughout the entire day, at least the morning session, New York AM. Alright, I need to step away for a moment. Okay. Alright, so let's take a look and see what happened here. It looks like price, once it hit that delta here, came back and hit the auction 0, which is pretty close to the delta, but didn't quite hit the delta, but it's coming back down. So it still looks like a rotational day to me, based on what I'm seeing here. ATR is kind of high, volume's kind of weak. And the thing about rotational days is they're the hardest days to trade. You know, the hardest days because say that it comes here to the extreme, you know, and you decide to go for long. Well, what if it decides here at this point, at this rotation, it doesn't want to rotate no more? Say it starts coming back up. You're like, okay, we're about to go into where the other delta extreme. It turns around, decides now it wants to do a distribution. Wow, as you can see, we're getting close here to that delta volume, delta extreme. So when I say delta extreme, once again, it's these yellow lines right here. All it is, it's a fixed range volume profile from all of the London session right here. You can see here. Okay. When it's a rotational day, that's what you want to target. Now the range between here to here, I mean, if you were to get in on a trade, it's still solid 165 points. It doesn't look like it's a lot, but it's 165 points. You know, I mean, right now it did not go all the way over here. It went to the auction zero, which is right here, and then it came back here. I think what kind of messes things up on a day like this is this right here. I mean, look at this thing. Asia opened up with one of those, candles that went over 300 points on the first 1 minute candle. And then, it still continued. Yesterday, it looked like it was going to try to repair back into value. Normally, when Asia opens outside of New York value here, it usually repairs into it, right? But here it decided, hey, we don't care about this value. And so what it did here is it started creating, accepting value lower. So there's a lower value here now. And so overnight, I thought, okay, London may try to repair. It did a little bit, but not nowhere near, as you can see here. Okay, but this was a over 600 points this range, which is very rare for Asia to happen. And so this threw everything off. It's a weird Monday, to say the least, because usually New York is the one that does the heavy lifting. But sometimes it does happen where Asia or London will do the heavy lifting. In this case, it was Asia. New York does not need to do the heavy lifting. And so it looks to me like today is a rotational day, um, based on what I'm seeing here. Now, price for New York opened up here, which means it opened outside of the two mids here. This is London mid, Asia mid, and it opened outside of New York value. However, it is kind of close. By definition, this is a rotation. Okay? No, no, no. This is a repair. I'm sorry. By definition. But because we are very close still to the mids here, it could be disguised as a rotation, but I mean as a repair, but in reality it's a rotation. So ask my good friend Chat. Price opened outside of the mids, but it still opened between the mids and repair. See if that affects the way it's supposed to think. If it had opened outside over here, well, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to ask. Every day is a learning journey with trading. You learn something new. Yeah. So like I said, these are the kind of days that just um, that simply throw you off as a trader. Look, as you can see right now, price did not come to the extreme, which is right around here at 24,318. But it looks like it wants to go up now, and so may come up to the 12 or the 0, or who knows, the delta extreme here. But these days are tough days to trade. I mean, the ATR is high, but the volume is weak, as you can see. Alright, guys, I'm gonna cut this here. I'll try to come back and do another section here so we can try and finish off, see what it did, the rest of the day, and label the day for what it was, what it truly becomes. Because right now it's rotational, but it can morph into something else. It can morph into a repair. It can morph into a continuation. Okay, can morph into a distribution. Just really depends. So it is Monday. Mondays are kind of slow days. Let me see right here. Where is my calendar Forex? Oh, we got October. We are behind on this calendar. I haven't touched this calendar in a while. I'm using this different computer than I normally use. And today is March 9th. And as you can see on Forex, we don't have any red folders. And there's really nothing going on in the morning, so it's a slow morning. But still, I managed to get in over 100 points today. Or let me see. I'll take a look here. I don't think it was over 100 points, but I'll check right now. Let's see. And when we look at the heat map, okay, as you can see, I mean it's kind of on the S&P 500. You can see it all here on the Nasdaq. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me go back over here. So I went in. Let me see where did I go. I went in right here. 379, and I exited right here. 319. 60 points. It was a 60-point move. You know, it's not bad. Like I said, on specific days, rotational days, it's very challenging. In fact, those are the days that I usually would get chopped up. And so that's the thing with trading. You kind of develop as the days go by, the weeks and the months go by, you start to develop an extra sense for looking at the morph, I guess, the morph of the move, because the move will morph and it will change. And like I said today, by definition, it was a repair. But as I was looking at it, I'm like, it looks more like a rotation. And so far, it has shown me that this is the area where it's going to rotate. This particular area. Let me put a square here. Okay. On I'm telling you, I am using a different computer, and normally I have this down here. But anyways, yeah. So you can see here, this is the delta extreme box here, and you can see it went down here, went up here. It didn't touch it all the way to the edge, as you can see here. So sometimes it's safe to say, hey, put your take profit a little bit before. That how much it's really up to you. You know, and I mean, as you can see, look right now, price came down here, and it looked like it was gonna go back up here. Now it's starting to come down here. So, like I said, uh, it might morph into something else. It might morph into a continuation. If it breaks past here, I would target, honestly, London low. I would target the 75. And that in itself would give you another probably what, 50 points maybe? It just really depends here. Actually, look at that, 89 points. You know. So it just really depends. Yeah, but I think it's gonna do this all morning. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and pause this for now, and I'll see if I can come back. And at the end of the day, oh, look at that! It had the displacement there. Good displacement there, and I mean, if you've entered from here, say somewhere in here, you target somewhere around. I would target the zero here. You know, that's what I would do. And it's, did I not cover? Did I? Oh, I had it covered. Oh, I forgot I had the cover on the camera. Okay, here we go. Let me go back over here. So we had some displacement here. This one is still, it has a little bit of a move, but nothing major. So there you go. It's moving. If you targeted the zero, you would hit that. You're gonna hit that take profit. We'll see. Alright, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and pause this for now. I am new with OBS here. And I don't see a pause button. Nope. Alright, I think I'm gonna pause it then. Let me see, because I don't see it. Alright, guys, I will come back and try to do a second segment of the day so that I can see what actually how the market finished through the day. Alright, good afternoon, guys. I am coming back. Like I said, I would come back throughout the midday. It is right now, it is 1:02 p.m., so we're 2 hours away from market closing. So I wanted to give you guys an update, and as you can see, the market decided to move. So let's just kind of recap in the morning what happened. All right, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what actually transpired after I cut the after I decided to take a break from the screen. So basically, in the morning, price opened up right around here. You'll see that right there. This red line represents the POC, by the way, for our delta or our fixed range volume profile for London. Okay. Um, so price opened up here, and by definition, based on what the how the day transpired or how it opened up by definition repair mode. And the reason why I say that is because this right here, these white lines over here, represents New York's previous 24-hour value, and by that I mean the fixed range volume profile for New York for that entire day. Okay, New York AM and PM. All right. So this is the fixed range volume profile. This is the POC. This yellow line represents previous day mid, by the way, and then the teal line previous day high, and then previous day low. Okay. Down below here, you'll see a purple and a blue line. It's basically the mids, the London mid, and then the Asia mid. Asia last night, major 600 plus point range, which was bananas, right? But anyways, so when price opened up, I thought, okay, well, we have our two POCs. This is Asia, this is London POC. It might create a vacuum towards repair. It did not initially. Okay. In fact, my prior auction zero. This is from a program I built called Remitar, and you'll see that how it went like this. Okay, it slanted down because at that point, our prior. This is our prior auction zero, by the way. This is where the zero from New York, the last previous day. That's where the fair action, or well, the fair price was, right? So right here, after two or three candles, 3 minutes in, 3 or 4 minutes into the session, it decided to migrate here. This is called the post migration. So this is pre migration, okay, and this went into post migration, and so post migration kind of gives us a better idea as to, hey, this is where price decides to get fair value. What I did at that point is I moved my fib to my zero here. This is my zero. You can see it here. I have to change the color on that, but you can see it here. And here, I just basically have 12 on each side, 25, 50, and so on, right? And so here, I noticed I got an entry signal or an entry label here. Normally, when I get this kind of label, I like for price to uh, retrace to the 12, and then I go in. Here, did not do that. But what I'm thinking here is that since it already, I guess you can say, retraced into it. That was the reason why it never decided to come back and retrace. Okay, and so it gave me an entry signal for a short. And what I did here, I felt comfortable um, targeting from this extreme to this extreme. This is a delta value area high, value area low for London. And so the reason why I decided to target that and nothing beyond, say, the 50 or the 62 or 75 is because we have the repair up here. Okay. If anything, I'm like
we're starting in repair mode. And the reason why we started in repair mode today was because price opened outside of New York value. Okay, that's already in repair mode, and the fact that it opened outside of the mids. These are the mids here. That's by definition a repair mode. However, the market is going to give us different disguises, right? And so I'm like, just because it's in repair mode doesn't mean it's going to automatically repair right away too. It doesn't have to. There's no guarantee, right? But what I saw that it had given me this entry, and once that price had committed, like say past the negative 12 and really the 25, I decided to take an entry right here, or short, and just to target this right here. And literally from this extreme to this was about 60 plus points, and basically at that point price hit here, and I remember saying in our earlier that if anything it's going to try, if it's in a rotational mode, it's going to target this right here, which it almost did. It actually went to the zero, rejected it, came back to the mids, and then from there it took off. And you can see the repair actually began at that point. And from here to here was 260 plus points. That was a move. So for me, once it crossed the zero, the fair action, the fair value price, um, that was the target right here. So I hope this kind of helps you guys here. Now, once it got here to the repair area for New York value, it had to make a decision. Hey, do we go in here and target here, or target the other side of the value? It did not. It rejected, and you notice the key level that it came back to was previous day low. Okay, previous day low. So that rejection right there, targeting here, would have been another nice little move there. And right now, like I said, it's right here. We'll see how the day finishes, but right now, I mean, we have less than 2 hours for market to close. But I mean, the move of the day already took place here, from what I can see. Whether it's directly from this last touch of the mid right here, when it was here, it's hard to say if that was going to be a repair right here. For all we know, it could have been just a rotational. It could have hit here and then come back down here. But once it committed past the 12, in my opinion, then heck, we're in for a repair mode. So I hope this helps you guys out here. I'm journaling this because I feel like that's just one of the best ways to learn the market, to journal and kind of see yourself and kind of remind yourself of what happened in the day, because sometimes we'll journal it, but when we actually see the video and see it in playback mode, we're able to connect pieces, faster, remember faster, so that the next time we see it, we kind of already know what to expect. But yeah, remember, the market will always try to do three things. Okay, it'll give you hundreds of disguises, but in the end, there's only three behaviors that it's going to try to do, and that's going to be search for value, agree on value, and then explore on that value. Okay, so all right, hopefully you guys enjoyed this first segment of JYR Trades. All right, everyone. So I want to finish off the day by showing you how the market closed. Market closed 8 minutes ago, and so I just want to recap what happened today. So where we left off last time I was on the screen, I think it was right around here. I talked about how price reached the New York value area low, came back down to previous day low, and then it went up and it was around here. And then shortly after I logged off the screen, you can see price had some major displacement, went through New York Valley area low, POC, and all the way to Valley area high, and some more. All right. Now, remember that earlier today I told you where price had started? I said by definition today it was going to be a repair. However, there was something a little bit that was off about it, strange. But let's talk about how, real quickly, why is it was a repair by definition. Because when New York opens, which by the way it opened right here, okay, right at 24,412, okay, when it opened outside of the mids, which are this, I'm sorry, not outside the mids, outside of New York value, and outside of the two mids, this is London, the purple, blue is for Asia, okay. When it opens outside of them, that's a definition by repair. But when Remitar um, prior auction 0 migrated, post migration went to here, okay, I put my 0 here, um, gave me a short entry. And I said once again, the only reason I targeted, and I didn't even target the 50, I targeted the yellow line, which is the delta value area low. And the reason why is because I'm like, it feels like a rotation, okay. And I just got the sense that because price opened between the mids, in other words, price is here, the two mids are here, and values over here, okay, I have to ask chat what it does, why the reason it does that. And so I went back to chat, and he said your read on the open was very sharp. You noticed this subtle detail, price open between mids and repair. This is very important information. It means the market is between two auction references, which usually creates, and this is what it said, rotation first, decision second. Exactly what happened. So basically, because price opened here, mids are here, and values over here, you can see that right there. We have value right here in this section, mids are right here, price open here, and it said it's going to rotate first. And what did it do? It went to the delta extreme right here, and then it went to this delta extreme, and from there it did a little bit of a back and forth. It tagged the 0 once again, then tagged the delta extreme, tagged the mids one last time, and then from there it took off. I mean, it did, it almost nearly tagged the 0, came back down to the POC. This is London POC, and then from there it took off. Now the final thing that I need to learn, yes, I took a 60 plus point trade here, which by all means it's a good trade, because I'm just starting now, starting to learn auction theory, understanding session logic, equilibriums, repairs, compressions, distribution, all that. Okay, I'm trying to think like the institutions here. But what I learned is this is what I take, the second take I take and from today is this: there was a second entry that was missed, and the second entry that I would have taken, or I would have partaken, that I need to partake in the future, is this one here. Okay, once price crosses the 0 here, the new auction 0, you can see here, and it commits past the 12, then we take the commitment towards the repair. Now it was here, like I said earlier, this right here is a 260 point move from here to here. Actually, wait, from here to here, 218 points. Okay, from the 0 is 260 something. Okay, however, all the way to the New York value, 375 points. Of course, this is you're only going to learn this with time, with repetition, more screen time. And this is why I'm journaling this, because I want to go back and see it. But this is what I understood overall. Okay, price opened up, New York opened between, first of all, again, it opened outside of repair, it opened outside of the mids, so by definition we're looking for a repair, right? That's the definition. However, when price opened between repair and the mids, that means that it was going to rotate first, and we used the delta extremes. Okay, it did do one full rotation there. All right, and then eventually it moved up, made the decision to repair. Now, I guess the other question too is that, like I said, by definition it was a repair. Could it had continued down? Yeah, it could have. Okay, um, but that's for a day for another talk. Based on today, this is what I learned today. Okay, once went past the auction zero, committed past the 12 on the fib, then yeah, we would have targeted. Could have do it. You could have done a partial here, okay, or stayed the entire run until it would have pulled through all the way to the other side of the value. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this first session here. I I don't know how long this video is gonna be. I know it's gonna be kind of decently long. I'm gonna try to, of course, as I get better at this, I'm gonna try to make them more short, more concise. But I hope you got some good educational content from it. Like I said, I am trying to learn the institutional way. I'm not trying to learn retail. Um, there's nothing wrong with that, to each their own. But this is where my journey begins. Uh, I've been doing this for, when it comes to institutional, about 4 months now. And so I just came up with the idea, let me start journaling, not just regular journal on a spreadsheet, but let me start putting it on video so that not only does it help me, but perhaps it can help other people as well. Okay. All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow.